Hi everyone, welcome back to Pilot Joseph's YouTube channel. Now I know a lot of people have probably been wondering where the hell did I go? I took a very long break from Arma. I took a break for maybe about a year or so. I had some commitments in real life that I needed to get on with. We're going for a complete fresh slate on this YouTube channel, and I thought the best way for me to bring back would be another piloting tutorial. Now I know a lot of people have seen my piloting tutorial on Arma 3 back when that YouTube video was up. However, obviously the new game is Arma Reforger. Basically a little pre-release and teaser for what Arma 4 could possibly be. I know a lot of people are excited for the new 1.3 update, and I know that heli physics are changing and there'll be a whole new video out on that. However, a lot of people have come up to me asking me, can I teach them how to fly? You know, this, and that. Like, how do I fly? How do I do this? So I thought the best way would be to make a YouTube video. All right. So there's going to be a few steps to this video. There's going to be one is going to be knowing your controls, knowing what does what. Also, we're going to be looking at your terrain, where you're landing on your terrains and how that must alter your landing. We're also going to be looking at J-hooks. We're just going to be looking at normal landings where you're decreasing your speed without gaining any altitude. And then we're also going to have a look at some fancy landings for those pilots that already know the basics and are just looking to step it up a little bit. Okay, all right, so without further ado, let's get into the main thing, and that's the controls. So once you're over in your controls, what you want to do is you want to head over to the controls panel, and then you want to make sure you go over and select helicopter. Okay, now a lot of people will already know what these words mean, but some people might not. So if you don't, I'm just going to go over basically what they are and what they do. So raising your collective up is basically, think of it as your accelerator. That's what's going to bring you up in the helicopter, the simplest way to put it. That's what's going to bring you up, and obviously when you bring your collective down, that's what's going to decrease your altitude. So up is increasing, collective down is decreasing. Now you've got your anti-torque left and right. What they do is it kind of just not tilts the helicopter, but turns the helicopter to the left and right. Obviously, I'll be doing a walkthrough with the controls, telling you basically what they are and what they're doing as we're in the helicopter. Then you've got your cycle forward and back. That is basically what you're going to be using to go forwards and backwards. It's as simple as that. And your cycle left and cycle right is what's going to be tilting your helicopter to the left and right. Now, I know a lot of you players might be on controller, trying it out on PlayStation. Just keep in mind, anything that I'm doing on keyboard and mouse is possible to do on controller. Just take into consideration what I'm doing as I'm doing it, with the amount of speed and the decreased speed and all that other good stuff. Okay, and then the other things are just the basics: the start and stop engine, your wheel brakes, your auto hover. Now your auto hover is very important when you're starting off landing. I would recommend having this something that you're very comfortable pressing. As you can see, when I used to just practice about on controller every now and then, I had it as my left stick because my finger's always on that left stick, so if I need to press it, it's no problem. Then you've got your taxi lights and your landing lights and all things like that. Okay, all right, so now that we've gone over the controls, let's get into the actual helicopter and learn the gist of flying. Alright guys, so now that I'm in the helicopter, I am going to be starting my engine. Once you want to give the engine about 10 to 15 seconds just to get fully prepared, let it gain speed, you know what I mean? Nice and simple things, we've all got a brain here. And if we just go and talk about some of the things inside, obviously I'm sure some of you that are learning to fly helicopters would already know the basics, but here is our pitch. So if I start hovering, if I lean forward, you'll see that leans forward with it, and it kind of tells you which way. Are you too far forward or too back? Okay, so like that. However, obviously you've got that little guide in the middle that's gonna tell you when you're just right and you're hovering. That's if you want to fly in first person. Now to the left of it, you've got your knots. That's going to tell you how fast you're going. You've got your altitude meter. That's going to tell you how high you are. And then you've got your compass. Now that's really the only important thing that you realistically need to know. However, if you hop into third person as such, it'll all be in the bottom left. Okay? So the first thing we want to go over is your anti-torque left and right. So as I was saying, if you anti-torque to the left, your heli will do this. If you anti-torque to the right, your heli will do this, okay? And it's basically as simple as that. You know, left, right. And now another important feature is obviously your pitching up and down. You need to know what's a good angle to have it at and what you can control. Because if you go too far forward, it will be hard to bring it up. So you want to practice flying about for maybe 10 to 15 minutes. So the first landing we're going to be looking at is going to be a nice and simple landing where you're going to be decreasing your speed without gaining momentum. So a lot of things I see is when pilots are trying to land, they will activate their auto hover too early. For example, a lot of players, let's say we want to land in this field right here, they'll be doing this. You don't want to be doing that because it's going to give the enemies a lot of time to shoot you down. As well as that, you also want to be making sure that anybody in your helicopter is making it to the ground safely. You want to get to that floor as quick as possible. So instead, I'm going to show you how you should do it and what mistakes you could be doing that would lead you to doing that. Okay, so we're going to aim for the same field. We're going to be decreasing our elevation. We're going to be pulling the heli up while decreasing our pitch. So we're coming down, we're decreasing our thrust. Okay, and then boom. So as you can see there, we decreased the thrust at the same time of raising our helicopter, pointing up. That way we weren't gaining any altitude, but we were losing momentum, allowing my helicopter to make a smooth landing. Okay, now I'm going to go over some of the few things that you might be doing wrong in a little notes panel and tell you how you can fix that. Okay, so now that you've gone over what you could be doing wrong and you've spent about 10, 15 minutes, maybe 20 minutes or so practicing that nice and easy landing, now we're going to be moving over to the J-hook. Now, this is something that a lot of milsim players use to decrease that momentum without gaining any altitude at a very fast pace, okay? So, what you want to do is you approach your LZ at a very fast pace. You want to make sure you've got enough speed and you want to be making sure that you're flying at a low altitude. Once you've got that LZ in sight, about 50 meters or so, you want to start dropping and boom, okay? What I'll do is I'll talk you through what buttons you need to be pressing to ensure that you make a correct and safe J-hook. Okay, so about 100 meters out from your LZ, you want to start pitching up while decreasing your thrust and anti-torquing to the way that your helicopter is going to be going, okay? So for example, right there, what I did was I pitched up, I decreased my thrust, and I anti-torqued to the right because that's the way that my helicopter was maneuvering, and it should kind of give you one momentum and pull the helicopter down. Okay, so let's say we want to land just in this field. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up, I'm going to decrease my thrust, I'm going to pull to the right, and then boom. Okay, nice and simple. What you want to do is you want to keep practicing over and over and over again, alternating it to whichever way makes you feel comfortable, left or right, until you get a J hook that sort of looks like this. bit slidey, but that'll do. Alright, so just keep working on it. Just remember your anti-torque to whichever way you are pulling. And making sure that you're pitching up while decreasing that thrust. Okay, so one more time, that field in front. I want to start pitching up and pulling to the right. Boom. Alright. Now that we're onto that, let's go over to the segmentation for the pilots that are more experienced. Okay, now so for this one, we're gonna be practicing the J hook barrel roll, and I'll give you a little insight on what that looks like in a third person point of view. Just on this peak here, so you pull up, you turn, and you complete that turning. Bouncy, and it kind of just looks like that. Alright, so again, one more time, we'll go for it on the docks here. Once you practice it, you should be able to do it at sort of any altitude. Just as so. Okay, so it's kind of the same as a J hook. The only difference is, instead of stopping when your helicopter gets to this sort of angle and decreasing, you use the momentum to turn all the way around and do that barrel roll. As such. So decrease, pull up, turn, barrel roll, and decrease your thrust so it brings you straight down to the floor as quick as possible, okay? Alright, and that last bit was just proof that once you've got it down, you can do it any sort of altitude. Now, this is my first YouTube video in 2 years. There will possibly be a part 2 on this tutorial. Just let me know anything I missed out. This is kind of all rushed because I've been trying to get it out for long. I'll leave my Discord in the description. Feel free to shoot me a DM on Discord, and I'll reply to you as soon as possible. I can hop in a game master session with you, help you guys fly, no problem at all, as long as I've got some time on my hands, okay? And a big shout out to Task Force Gaming for letting me use his server to go into GM with a 60 pop. I'm going to leave his Discord and YouTube channel in the description. Highly recommend. We host Game Master Ops every single day, 24/7, with 2 days, that's a Friday and a Sunday, dedicated ops that Task Force turns into a YouTube video. Alright boys, so I'll leave that in the link in the description. I hope you guys liked the tutorial. I hope it's helped you a lot, and I'll see you guys in the next one, okay? Thank you. Keep an eye out for the montages. See you in a bit, boys.